absolutely sure the way you show affection isn't actually harming your cat? Sounds terrifying, doesn't it? We often try to spoil our furry friends by giving them what we consider a delicious treat, but in reality, we might be giving them slow-acting poison. Today, we're going to talk about 5 foods that are fatally dangerous for cats, and I'm almost certain that you are currently feeding your pet at least one of these, completely unaware of the consequences. Make sure you watch this video until the very end, and I promise you, you'll never look at the contents of your kitchen or your pet's bowl the same way again. What's more, the third item on our list will completely flip your idea of a classic cat treat. Are you ready to hear the truth that could save your cat's life? Then let's dive in. Before we jump into our blacklist, let's take a second to understand why this happens. Why can food that is perfectly safe, even healthy, for us become a deadly poison for a cat? It all comes down to their unique biology. Cats are obligate carnivores. That fancy term essentially means their bodies are perfectly designed to digest animal protein, and only animal protein. Their digestive system, liver, and kidneys work completely differently than ours do. They lack certain enzymes that help us break down plant compounds or chemical substances. So, when we share our meals with them, we are essentially asking their body to do something it is genetically incapable of doing. It's like trying to fill a gasoline car with diesel. The results are going to be disastrous. Remember this simple rule. A cat is not just a small human in a fur coat, and in a moment you'll see exactly how critical that understanding is. So, our first enemy, often hiding in plain sight, is the unassuming onion and garlic. It doesn't matter how they are prepared, raw, boiled, fried, dried, or even powdered. Absolutely every part of these plants is toxic to cats. You might be thinking, who in their right mind would deliberately feed their cat onions? But that's not where the true danger lies. The real treachery of onions and garlic is that they are hidden ingredients in a vast amount of our everyday human food. A small piece of sausage from the dinner table, it could easily contain onion powder. A lick of soup broth, it was almost certainly simmered with onions. Even some types of meat-based baby food, which owners occasionally use to feed weak or recovering animals, can contain these harmful ingredients. Therefore, rule number 1 is this: absolutely no food from your table unless you are 100% certain of every ingredient. Even the smallest dose can trigger a destructive process within your cat's system. Let's dive into exactly what happens inside a cat when it consumes onion or garlic. These plants contain substances called thiosulfates. While the human body can easily process them, for cats, they are pure poison. Once thiosulfates enter the bloodstream, they immediately attack the erythrocytes, the red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. They literally destroy the protective membranes of these cells. Imagine the oxygen couriers which deliver vital breath to every single cell suddenly starting to burst. This resulting condition is known as hemolytic anemia. Organs and tissues quickly become oxygen deprived, leading to severe and life-threatening consequences for the cat's entire system. And here's the scariest part. The effect can be cumulative. Small regular doses, for example, from constantly sneaking table scraps, slowly but surely erode your pet's health over time. How do you spot the danger? Symptoms of onion or garlic poisoning aren't always immediate. They might not show up for several days, long after you've forgotten about that tiny piece of meatball or savoury treat you gave your cat. This delayed reaction makes diagnosis extremely challenging. Initially, the signs often resemble general sickness or a mild malaise. Your cat may become lethargic, weak, or completely lose interest in food. You might notice rapid breathing or shortness of breath, as the lack of oxygen starts to affect their system. One of the most noticeable warning signs that you can check yourself is the colour of their gums. A healthy cat has pink gums, but when anemia sets in, caused by this type of poisoning, the gums become pale, sometimes almost white. Other symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, and a change in urine colour. The urine may turn dark red or brownish due to the destruction of red blood cells. If you observe even one of these symptoms, especially if you recall a recent potential savoury treat, you must contact your vet immediately. When dealing with poisoning, timing is absolutely crucial. So, how exactly do you protect your beloved pet from this silent threat? The golden rule here is vigilance. Never, under any circumstances, leave food that contains onions or garlic unattended. Make sure your trash bin is tightly secured. That curious feline sleuth can easily climb in, looking for a delicious and dangerous snack. Always scrutinise the ingredient list on any treats, canned goods, or human food items you might be tempted to share, especially if they aren't specifically formulated for cats. And forget the common practice of letting your cat clean the plate. This isn't a gesture of love, it's a massive, unnecessary risk. The best way to show you care is to feed your cat a high-quality, balanced diet, specifically designed for their species. If you want to spoil them, head to the pet store and grab species-appropriate treats. Remember this, a moment of pleasure from forbidden human food is simply not worth the long days of veterinary treatment and the heartbreaking risk of losing a beloved member of your family. We move on to our second point, which covers something many of us absolutely love: chocolate and caffeine. For us, they are sources of pleasure and energy, but for a cat, they are deadly poison. The primary danger comes from the substances they contain: theobromine and caffeine. These alkaloids are powerful stimulants that rev up the central nervous and cardiovascular systems. A cat's body, however, metabolizes or breaks down these toxins incredibly slowly. As a result, the toxins build up, reaching critical concentrations and leading to severe poisoning. Dark and bitter chocolate is especially dangerous as it contains the highest concentration of theobromine. While milk and white chocolate are less toxic, they still pose a significant threat. Even a tiny piece of cake, a dropped candy, or an unattended sip of cocoa can quickly turn into a tragedy. So, what exactly happens when a cat ingests chocolate? Theobromine and caffeine act as incredibly powerful stimulants. They force the heart to beat at a frantic pace, often resulting in dangerous arrhythmias and a sharp spike in blood pressure. Simultaneously, they severely overstimulate the entire nervous system. Imagine the feeling of drinking 10 shots of the strongest espresso back to back. Now amplify that effect and apply it to a tiny body weighing just a few pounds. This manifests as severe hyperactivity, extreme anxiety, and uncontrollable muscle tremors. The cat cannot settle down. It is literally driven frantic by the overstimulation. This entire process rapidly depletes the body's reserves and can result in irreversible damage to the heart and the brain. It is crucial to understand that there is simply no safe dose of chocolate for cats. Any amount ingested is potentially dangerous. The signs of chocolate poisoning usually show up within 6 to 12 hours. The first thing you'll likely notice is a significant change in behaviour. Your cat may become restless or hyperactive, often pacing or running around the house aimlessly. They will develop extreme thirst, polydipsia, and consequently frequent urination, polyuria. Next come the more alarming symptoms: vomiting and diarrhea, as the body attempts to purge the toxin. Muscles may begin to twitch involuntarily. This tremor can quickly escalate into full-blown convulsions and seizures. The heart rate will become very rapid and irregular, a condition known as tachycardia and arrhythmia. In severe cases, these symptoms can unfortunately lead to cardiac arrest, coma, and ultimately death. If you suspect your cat has ingested chocolate or consumed coffee, do not wait for the symptoms to set in. You need to rush her to the veterinary clinic immediately. This is absolutely a situation where it is better to be safe than sorry. Many pet owners wrongly believe that the danger stops with just a standard chocolate bar. But caffeine and theobromine are actually lurking elsewhere. This includes coffee beans and grounds, tea bags, energy drinks, cocoa powder, and even certain dietary supplements and medications. A cat might accidentally swallow a pill left sitting out, or simply lap up a spilled energy drink. There is a common myth that just a tiny piece won't hurt. This is a dangerous misconception. The toxic dose depends entirely on your cat's weight, its current health status, and the specific type of chocolate. For a small kitten, even a single square of dark chocolate can be fatal. That's why prevention must be 100% absolute. Always keep all chocolate and caffeine-containing products stored safely out of your cat's reach, and explain to all family members, especially children, that sharing sweets with a pet is not kindness. It is, in fact, cruelty. Let's move on to the third product. This is the one that I promised would completely change your perspective. And that product is milk. Yes, you heard that correctly. The familiar image of a cat happily lapping up milk from a saucer, an image that cartoons and stories have pushed on us for decades, is actually one of the most damaging and widespread myths about feline nutrition. The fact is, most adult cats are lactose intolerant. Lactose is a milk sugar, and to break it down, you need a specific enzyme called lactase. And this is where the real secret comes in. While they are nursing, young kittens produce plenty of this enzyme, but as soon as they transition to solid food, the body virtually stops producing it. This is simply a natural biological process. So, what exactly happens when an adult cat drinks dairy milk? Because adult cats hardly produce the necessary lactase enzyme, the milk sugar, lactose, can't be broken down or absorbed in the small intestine. Instead, it travels further, undigested, straight into the large intestine, and that's where the local bacteria are eagerly waiting. For these bacteria, lactose is a full-blown feast. As they actively consume it, this microbial party releases an enormous amount of gas. This is what causes severe bloating and intense abdominal pain. Furthermore, the undigested lactose draws water into the bowels, resulting in acute diarrhea. Essentially, when you give an adult cat milk, you are personally triggering a major painful digestive breakdown. This mirrors the distress experienced by humans with lactose intolerance, except for cats. This isn't an individual allergy or issue, it's the biological norm for the entire species. Unlike substances like chocolate or onions, milk usually won't kill a cat instantly, but it systematically undermines their health and causes chronic discomfort. Persistent diarrhea leads to dehydration, the loss of essential electrolytes, and impaired absorption of vital nutrients from their regular diet. Chronic inflammation in the digestive tract can potentially trigger more serious gastrointestinal diseases. Your cat may be suffering from abdominal pain, but they have no way to tell you. All you'll see are the consequences: loose stool in the litter box, lethargy, or a refusal to eat. You might find yourself treating these symptoms without realizing the cause lies in that very beneficial milk you pour out of the best intentions. Therefore, while milk isn't a direct toxic poison, its regular consumption slowly but surely compromises the health and comfortable life of your pet. Why does this myth stick around? It's simple. Cats are naturally drawn to milk because it's high in fat and protein. Their instincts tell them it's nutritious, but their digestive systems tell a different story. If you really want to give your feline friend a milky treat, there is a solution. Pet stores sell specialized cat milk. This is milk that has been commercially processed to remove almost all the lactose. It's perfectly safe and won't cause an upset stomach. But truthfully, the best drink for a cat has always been, and still is, plain, clean water. It needs to be readily accessible at all times. So please, forget the cartoon stereotypes. Take cow's milk out of your cat's diet once and for all. By doing this, you'll be doing them a huge favour and saving them from unnecessary discomfort. Our fourth item might seem completely obvious, but sadly, alcohol poisoning in cats is far more common than you might think. We are talking about alcohol. Whether it's beer, wine, or hard liquor, any alcoholic beverage is a powerful poison for felines. Their bodies are simply not equipped to process ethanol. A cat's liver is tiny and has extremely limited detoxification capabilities. The amount of alcohol that would be insignificant to a human can be a lethal dose for a cat. Just one single teaspoon of a strong alcoholic drink is enough to cause severe poisoning, and a tablespoon can quickly lead to coma and death. Never, under any circumstances, give your cat alcohol. Even if you think it's funny or harmless, it's not a joke. It is lethal. Why is alcohol so devastating to cats? When ethanol enters a cat's system, it's absorbed into the bloodstream almost instantly and distributed throughout the entire body. It immediately targets the two most critical areas, the central nervous system and the respiratory system. Alcohol suppresses brain function, leading to immediate disorientation, loss of coordination, and profound lethargy. The cat begins to stagger, fall over, and cannot move normally. This is not a funny drunk like in humans. It is a clear sign of severe neurological poisoning, and it gets worse. Alcohol depresses the respiratory center in the brain, causing breathing to slow down drastically and become labored. The heart rhythm is also severely compromised. Furthermore, ethanol causes a dramatic drop in blood sugar levels, which can quickly lead to seizures and irreversible brain damage. The liver and kidneys try desperately to filter out the poison, working to the point of exhaustion, which often leads to complete organ failure. Quite simply, the cat's entire biological system lacks the necessary mechanisms to defend itself against this type of chemical attack. Alcohol poisoning symptoms in cats develop extremely quickly, often within just 30 minutes to an hour of ingestion. Initially, you'll notice behavioural changes. The cat might become overly agitated and excited, or conversely depressed and lethargic. A distinct smell of alcohol on the breath is usually noticeable. Next comes a loss of coordination, a wobbly gait, difficulty jumping onto furniture or bumping into objects. Vomiting may occur as the body attempts to expel the toxin. The cat will also drool excessively and appear disoriented. In severe cases, breathing becomes shallow and infrequent. The cat's body temperature will drop significantly, leading to stupor and eventually a coma. Without immediate emergency veterinary care, this condition is almost always fatal. Do not attempt to treat this yourself, whether by flushing the system, with water, or any other home remedy. Only IV fluids and professional supportive therapy at a clinic offer a chance to save your pet's life. Obviously, most responsible cat owners wouldn't intentionally pour alcohol into their pet's bowl. The main danger, however, lies in accidental exposure. Think of a glass of wine or a cocktail left on a table, or even beer spilled on the floor that your cat might curiously lick up. Some desserts also contain alcohol, such as rum cake or liqueur-filled chocolates. A particular risk comes from alcohol-based tinctures, various medicinal spirits, and even common hand sanitizers. If a cat steps in a puddle of one of these products and then grooms its paw, it can easily ingest a serious dose of toxins. This is why you need to be especially careful during holidays and social gatherings. Clear away all drinks promptly and make sure your guests don't try to treat your pet to anything inappropriate. Always store any alcohol-containing products, be it beverages or household items, in tightly closed containers, safely secured and out of your pet's reach. Your foresight and vigilance are the best defense. And finally, the fifth product on our list, one whose danger might truly surprise many of you. That is grapes and raisins. Yes, these juicy, sweet berries, which are so beneficial for us, are actually a deadly poison for cats and dogs. Even just 1 or 2 grapes or a handful of raisins can trigger acute kidney failure in your pet. This is a condition where the kidneys suddenly stop performing their function, filtering blood and removing toxins from the body. As a result, toxic metabolic waste products build up in the bloodstream, essentially poisoning the animal from the inside out. This is one of the most insidious and confusing hazards lurking in our kitchens, precisely because it is completely non-obvious to the majority of pet owners. What makes the whole grape and raisin toxicity issue truly terrifying is that scientists still haven't pinpointed the exact component that acts as the toxin. While there are several theories, none of them have been 100% confirmed yet. It remains a mystery why some animals react violently to even a minimal amount, while others can consume more without any immediate apparent consequences. This very unpredictability makes grapes even more dangerous. We cannot calculate a safe dose because quite simply, there is no such thing. The only way to truly protect your pet is to completely eliminate any contact with these products. This means avoiding not just fresh grapes and raisins, but anything that contains them. Baked goods with raisins, muffins, cakes, fruit salads, and even juices. Don't take the risk and wait to see if your specific pet falls into the sensitive group that reacts to this mysterious toxin. Symptoms of grape toxicity usually show up within 24 hours of ingestion. The first and most common sign is vomiting. Your cat will likely become lethargic and apathetic, losing interest in food and play. They may seem withdrawn or suffer from abdominal pain. You might also notice changes in thirst. They could be drinking excessively, or conversely, refusing water altogether. The primary target of the toxin is the kidneys, which is why changes in urination occur. Initially, you might notice increased frequency, but later, urination can stop completely. This is a critical sign indicating total kidney failure. Without immediate treatment, the chances of survival drop rapidly. Acute kidney failure is a life-threatening condition. Therefore, if you witness your cat eating grapes or raisins, do not wait for symptoms to develop. Rush them to the emergency veterinary clinic immediately. The key to prevention, as with the other toxic hazards, is absolute control. Never leave grapes or raisins exposed on a counter, table, or in an open fruit bowl. If you're eating them, be mindful that individual berries don't drop to the floor, where your curious pet can easily sniff them out. Be especially careful around children. They may not understand the danger and might innocently try to share a piece with their furry friend. Scrutinize your trash can carefully. Discarded skins, stems, or leftover baked goods containing raisins can all be sources of poison. Considering how serious the consequences are and how little it takes to cause poisoning, the safest strategy is often to simply avoid bringing these items into a cat-friendly home. If you must have them, store them immediately in the refrigerator inside a tightly sealed container. Remember, knowledge is power. Now that you are aware of this non-obvious threat, you are fully prepared to protect your beloved pet. So, let's summarize what we've learned today. Today, we covered 5 seemingly ordinary household foods that can be deadly poison for your cat. That includes onions and garlic, often hidden in our meals, chocolate and caffeine, our favourite pick-me-ups, but absolute poison to pets, alcohol, which is dangerous even in microdoses, the mysterious and tricky grapes, and of course the biggest surprise, milk, which often brings suffering, not benefits, to our feline friends. What is the main takeaway from all of this? The greatest danger to our beloved pets isn't malicious intent, but rather our own ignorance and the habit of humanizing them, assuming that what's good for us must be good for them. But their world is different. Their biology operates under completely different rules. Our love and care should manifest not in sharing scraps from our plates, but in providing a safe environment and proper, species-appropriate nutrition. Thank you for watching this important video all the way through. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future pet care tips. Now, a question for you. Which of these items surprised you the most? Or maybe you know about other hidden dangers we didn't mention. Share your experience in the comments below. Let's help each other keep our furry friends safe